Hello, welcome back to David Anderson Longbow Arrows. Now this is video 3. We're talking now about the shaft itself. This one here, blank shaft, and we're looking at straightness and how to fix any bends in the shaft. I'm just going to clear a few things away from the desk here, so we've got a bit of space. Now we also have a second camera up, which hopefully should show us what we're doing on the workbench as well. So now what we're doing in this one here is we're going to have a look at some arrow shafts. We're going to have a look at straightness and how to fix the straightness. Okay, so and as we said in the last video, they've got some various different pieces of wood. Port Orford cedar is a very nice wood, and it is pretty straight to start with, but we'll have a look at a few ones here. Let me go and grab this this tube. Let's see what we can find in here. All right, that we can. Oh yeah! Oh, look at this. We got loads of arrow shafts here. Loads. This is what I call the bin tube, mainly because some things are broken like that. So I don't like to throw shafts away. I like to keep them for training purposes. Well, this is not very. Ooh, let's get rid of that one there straight away. Right. Okay. We'll use this one here. That's quite a nice one to have a look at. That'll do. Actually, that's probably a really good size. So let me start this one recording as well. Okay, so that we got. So you're looking at me. This camera over here is looking at the workbench, so you can actually see what we are doing now. There are a couple of ways to identify if there are any bends in there in the shaft. The first one is, well, actually there's 3 ways really. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a shaft, any shaft you want to play around with, and basically we're just going to look down the shaft and see whether we can actually see any bends down there. And I don't know if I put it into this one here whether you can actually see any. This shaft does have a slight bend in it. Okay, so that's the first thing we could do, inspect them. Now presumably at this stage you may have actually now gone shopping and you bought some arrow shafts. If not, good. Okay, because this is what you need to be doing when you actually go to the shop and you buy your shafts. Okay, now assuming of course that the shop that you're buying them from has a good supply and allows you to do this. I generally use Quick's Archery, who are based in Waterlooville, closest one to where I live, and I can go big boxes of arrow shafts, usually about 200 or 300, 400 in the box, and I grab a big handful, put them on the table like I've just done here with these ones, and what I do is the first thing I do is what we call the rolling test. Okay, so the rolling test is listening to what the shaft actually sounds like when you're rolling. Okay, so we go. And if you can hear that, it's kind of like a little rattling noise. It's the same sort of noise that you get when you roll a pencil on a flat surface. You get that rattling noise. That's what you're listening for. And if you can hear that, then it means that basically there is a bend in the shaft somewhere. And then we're going to have a look to see where that bend is. And then we do that with lots of... See that one there? Sounds very good, although I can actually see there's a little bend in the middle of it as well. And we take another one, and that's the sort of sound that you do want. Now on this particular shaft, okay, I've already identified a bend. Okay, now what I've done here is, I don't know if you can just see on there, some X's and a line, so I know actually from this point onwards that this part of the shaft is no good. Okay, now that's perfect because tape measure, where did the tape measure go? Let me just grab the tape measure because it's over here. Now if I measure this, the length of this bit here, this is 26 inches. Okay, now 26 inches, that there will actually make a shaft. Okay, so for somebody who perhaps has a draw length of maybe 24-25 inches, so this would actually be perfect, which is the reason why I've probably kept this one, because it still can be made into a shaft. Okay, so anywhere there's a bend on the end, on either end, don't worry about it, because you can cut that bit off and you then have a perfectly flat round shaft. And then what's we got on here? That one there's quite a bit rattly as well. Now the next thing that we want to do, that there is what we call the free test. That's the rattly test that I call it. It works very, very well. All you need to do is put the shaft onto a flat surface. Has to be very, very flat. The best one is probably a pane of glass, because glass usually is really, really, really smooth and flat, but this is a good work surface as well that I'm using here. The other one is slightly more expensive. It's using a spinner, and I'll just grab the spinner down from up here. So here is a spinner. I'll feed that in onto with the other camera as well, and basically all we're doing is, if you can see, it's got a bend in the middle here, a straight edge there, and we've got a couple of spinnies on either end, and we place the shaft in the middle, and then all we're doing is we're rolling this down, and then we're looking at the end there and looking to see whether there are any, and we've got a slight bend probably about this part here on the shaft. Okay, so we can do that and we can have a look. So what we then do is we say, right, okay, how do we fix the bends? Okay, very, very simple. A couple of tools. You can use this type of tool here. This is ideally for sort of like aluminium arrows rather than wooden arrows, but you can use it. What you do is you find your bend. The bend on this one here goes that way. It's an exaggeration. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there, and then we just basically twist the shaft 180 degrees, and we bend it just a slight little bit pressure, and you can just see that little bit of pressure just to kind of bend it back the other way. Okay, but as I said, this particular tool is more suited for aluminium arrows rather than wooden arrows. And then we put it back on the spinner, and then we have a look, and yeah, it looks like that's just about gone. There's a slight upward bend there, which actually leads me into the next tool. This brilliant piece of tool. This is an ACE shaft straightener, which what we'll do is I'll put the link to this, where you can buy this from, in the description below. So basically you find the up part of the arrow where it is, simply place it on the hard surface and you roll it like that. Okay, and then back on the spinner, that way there, and there you go, and that bend is pretty much gone now, and that there is very, very simple way of straightening arrows. There are some other ways of doing it. Some people say heating it over fire. Ooh, wood on fire? Maybe not. All I can imagine there, last time I did that, it kind of went very, very good on cold days, of course. The other way of doing it is that you can actually do it over steam as well, because the heat from the steam, like from a kettle for example, will soften up the pores a little bit, and then again you can use one of these to help straighten it. Use one of these to help straighten it, or you can actually just gently bend it back using your own fingers, okay, in your own strength. And that is pretty much everything you need to know about straightening arrows. Okay, so now you're in the shop, what you need to do now is you need to buy lots of arrow shafts. You can buy them singly like this. Most of these you're looking usually from the shops around £2, £2.40 a shaft, so they can be quite expensive. You need to have a look around. Merlin Archery, very good online store. They do them in multiples as well. So for example, if I just grab a bag, there we go, there we go. So you can buy a bag like this. This has got 50 shafts in it. Okay, so this bag here, this is a Bear Paw Premium spruce shafts. They're 5/16 and their weight is 25 to 30 pounds. So you can actually buy a pack of this, which is a lot cheaper than buying shafts individually. However, this is a bag of 50, okay, which I think costs somewhere around about 80, £100, something like that. Okay, if you're making 12 arrows, do not buy 12 shafts, okay, because they just won't work unless you've got the time to spend in the shop and rolling each one, spine weighting each one and weighing each one, which we're going to cover in the next video. You won't do it with 12 shafts. You really need to start with a pack of 50 or even 100 to get yourself a good dozen arrows. And as I always say to people, if you're making arrows, make a dozen. Okay, you always shoot with 6 arrows. Out of those 6 arrows, what happens if 3 of them break? At least then you've got another 6 to fall back on. Okay, so it's probably best to make as many as you can for that one set. However, remember what I said in the last video, you need to experiment to make sure that you're getting the right arrow, the right spine weight, the right grain weight for your bow. Big task ahead of you. But anyway, while you're in the shop and you're buying all your arrow shafts, don't forget it's a good opportunity then to go around and start to buy some feathers, buy your points, buy your nocks. Okay, get all the supplies that you need, because unless you live relatively close to an archery shop, having to go backwards and forwards can be quite time consuming and costly on fuel. Going to Quicks, for example, they are approximately 45 minutes away from where I live. So you can imagine that if I went down there, got some supplies, came back and then realised I've forgotten something and then have to go back, quite costly. Alternatively, online, perfect online. Merlin Archery are very good online. They will send stuff out very quickly. Very good courier service. Right, I think that's everything on this particular video. Next one then is video 4, the weights and measures. This is going to be a fantastic video and you're going to love it. So see you in the next one.